Hello and welcome to another Betfred Sports video right here in the Quest Media Network studio. Now, excitement's building ahead of the Rugby League World Cup, which is taking place this weekend. It kicks off with home side England hosting Samoa at St James's Park in Newcastle. Peter, heading into this game, Samoa are actually the favourites.
Yeah, they are. They're favourites to win the game. They're also 9-1 third favourites to win the competition outright. England have slipped slightly. They're now 16-1. Betfred are having the best price guaranteed to win the tournament outright, but they're 16-1 now. Australia are the outright favourites. They're 1-2. No surprise there. New Zealand, they're 10-3. As we say, Samoa 9-1. And then we've got Tonga in at 11-2 and England 16-1. So, and in that particular game, England are 5-4 to win the opener and get our campaign off to a flyer. Samoa 4-6. Tommy Makinson, the Saints flying winger, he's 8-1 to score the first try. Skipper Sam Tompkins, he's 12-1. And George Williams, who's had an up and down season, to put it mildly, at Warrington, he's 18-1 to score the first try. And if you're really, really feeling patriotic, then England to win by over 10 points is 5-2.
Excellent stuff. Well, there you go then. That game is going to be shown on the BBC, taking place at St James's Park in Newcastle on Saturday. And as Peter just said then, England to win the competition outright, they are now priced with Betfred at 16-1. Well, we're going to move into the Champions League now, because earlier this week, Manchester City were held to a 0-0 draw at FC Copenhagen. Peter, one to forget really, that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the most boring games. There was penalty misses and whatnot, but it wasn't classic City by any stretch of the imagination. It does prove the importance of Haaland, because he didn't play in that game. But they did enough to go through. From what I can gather, the City supporters were all made very welcome there in Copenhagen. And City just did what they have to do. And it was strange that they weren't able to get a goal with Haaland missing from the team. It just shows how important he is. To win the Champions League, now they've qualified. City now 15-8 with Betfred. Bayern Munich 11-2. PSG 13-2. And of the other English teams involved, Liverpool are now 7-1. Chelsea 14-1, and Tottenham on the slide, there's 20-1. And then we've got this the weekend.
Yeah, we certainly have. So excitement building ahead of Sunday's clash. It's taking place at Anfield. It's Liverpool taking on Manchester City. And Peter, looking at the two sides' recent form, it's going to be a City victory.
Well, except that Liverpool had that tremendous victory in Scotland, so we're presumably not counting that.
No.
7-1 against Rangers was quite extraordinary. And Salah found his scoring boots into with that record-breaking quick-fire hat-trick. Salah's 11-2 to score the first goal at Anfield against City. Nunez is 5-1, but all the money, of course, is going on Haaland's return. He's 9-4 to score the opener, and a hat trick from Haaland. Now that would be something. A hat trick at Anfield. That's 12-1 with Betfred. Liverpool go into the game 11-4. City 10-11. So City obviously the favourites there. And for the Golden Boot, well, it's getting out of hand now, this. Haaland is 1-8 to go and win the Golden Boot. Quite extraordinary after so early start of the season. Harry Kane, he's 12-1. And look at Salah, 50-1 for the Golden Boot.
Who'd have thought that last season?
Exactly.
Well, just to refer to the game earlier this week, you just said it then, the absolutely battered Rangers. Does that show the gulf between the Premier League and the Scottish Premier League?
Yeah, it was strange, that game, because it was 1-1 at half-time and Rangers were putting up quite a fight of it. But Scottish football, generally, it's about getting in the face of the opposition and really trying to intimidate them with the crowd and everything. And they did that to an extent. But Liverpool just showed their total class. Yeah. And there is a huge gulf between the Premier League and the best that the Scots can come up with. It's great that Scotland, two Scottish teams, Rangers and Celtic, both qualified for the Champions League, but they didn't do themselves any favours. No. And it is another proof, really, of the demise of Scottish football, because that was one heck of a mauling, 7-1 against And out of form Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly, out of form Liverpool, but they'll be hoping to turn it around in the Premier League this weekend. As we just said then, they are hosting Manchester City at Anfield on Sunday. And if you fancy Erling Haaland to score a hat-trick, he's priced at 12-1. Well, we're going to move into the Europa League now because Manchester United needed a 93rd minute winner via Scott McTominay to beat Ammonia Nicosia on Thursday night. Peter, another one to forget really, and it just goes to show how bad United are.
Yeah, they really did struggle against these minnows from Cyprus. It was incredible, really. They're all set up to give them a good pasting vis-a-vis what Liverpool did against Rangers, but it didn't come about. They played a very defensive approach. Well, no surprise there. They silenced the Old Trafford crowd, 0-0 with 3 minutes into injury time. And then it was the super sub, who never thought that? Scott McTominay, great Scott, super sub. He comes on and just about gets the ball in the back of the net. About a scrambled affair. Ronaldo would have been disappointed that he didn't score a bag full of that. Same with Rashford as well. It was pretty poor basically. But United did get the win and they remained second favourites at Betfred to win the Europa League outright for 11-2 behind Arsenal at 4-1. But what's happening there is that market will change quite dramatically when we get the teams that are knocked out of the Champions League coming into the Europa League. And at the moment, it's looking like Barcelona will be amongst those teams. Yeah. And they'll no doubt go in as favourites to win the Europa League, having been thrown out of or been beaten and dropped out of the Champions League. And then we've got United against Newcastle, Old Trafford.
Yeah, we certainly do, and that game's taking place at Old Trafford on Sunday, so another home fixture for Manchester United. Looking at their performance on Thursday, it doesn't bode well, and Newcastle, under Eddie Howe, new ownership, they could be a surprise package this season.
Yeah, might be a bit early for them to be challenging for a top 4 place, but certainly a top 6 finish would be well within their sights. Newcastle 11-4 with Betfred, but United are favourites. They're evens to get the 3 points against Newcastle. Ronaldo 100-30 to score the first goal is favourite for that. Rashford 11-2. Anthony, bit hit and miss at the moment. Yeah. He's supposed to add some style and swagger to the team, as if they didn't need that. 9-2 to score the first goal. And the latest title odds, well, no surprise here. Manchester City outright favourites, odds on 1-5 to win the Premier League title or retain the title. Arsenal 15-2. Remember, Arsenal still top. Yeah. And then we've got Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool all out at 25-1, and mighty Manchester United. Well, they're on the slide again. Now 80-1 to win the title. And for a top 4 finish, that's much more realistic for United. They're 7-4 to get a top 4 finish.
Well, there you go then. If you fancy Manchester United to get in the top 4 this season, they are now priced at 7-4. But if you're optimistic and you still think they can claim the title, they're priced at 80-1. Well, there's always big winners at Betfred. This week's no different. And one man from Wigan has scooped £29,000 from a 4-game accumulator. He put £2.50 on. Peter, what a great return.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to this guy yet, but you're dead right. He's on holiday at the moment. He booked his holiday before he'd won, so what a fantastic time he'll be having. Basically, he had a 4-game accumulator. The exact score was required, and he had Palace 2-1 against Leeds, West Ham beating Fulham 3-1, Arsenal 3-2 against Liverpool, and I understand he's a United supporter and he wasn't going to bet against United, so we had United winning 2-1 at Everton, and he bet £2.50 on his accumulator, and he's picked up 29,920, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations to you. Enjoy your winnings. Well, just finally, who's going to become the next James Bond? At the moment, with Betfred, it's Bridgerton star Reggae Page, who's set to become 007. Peter, run us through who the contenders are, please.
Well, we've got 7. And you understand why there's 7. 7, the top 7, to be the new 007. And we've got Reg Jane Page. He's 5-2. He's coming from 5-1. He's the 34-year-old London-born star of Bridgerton, and he is the outright favourite now. and that'll be an interesting development because he has moved ahead of people like Aidan Turner from Poldark, Henry Cavill, James Norton, Idris Elba, who would make history if he becomes the first black James Bond. Elba is 11-2. I think he's got a fair chance, to be honest. But at the moment, it's Reg Jean Page from Bridgerton at 5-2. And in 7th place, we've got Michael Fassbender. He'd be interesting because he's German born. He's 12-1.